Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds out his wife has been messing around with her coworkers from one of his wife's colleagues. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. My wife, 34, and I, 37, have been together for more than 6 years. It has worked out great for us so far. We have no kids because my wife made it clear from the get-go that she didn't want kids. Over the years, I've come to terms with that and enjoy the time we have as just the two of us. We have plenty of time to do whatever we want without worrying about the cost to dependents. While I don't have many complaints about our home life, my wife works long hours at the office. It's pretty common to just see her in passing for several days. I don't pay much attention to that because we keep in communication throughout the day with texts and calls. I also know that she enjoys her work. I figured there was no reason to make an issue of it when she wasn't making it an issue. Anyway, one day, I got a random phone call. I thought it was a prankster at the start. The guy on call claimed that he worked in the same office as my wife and then made claims that she was not loyal to me or her vows and was sleeping around with some of the guys at work. He claimed that she was with the fax guy, then went on to say that she had tried flirting with him too, but failed to seduce him. The entire story sounded shady to me. My wife had never given me reason to suspect that things were not all well between us. I told the stranger off and told him to stop trying to sow doubt within my marriage. I also told him that I barely knew who he was, so there was no reason for me to believe his claims. I hung up. The guy called back immediately after. I picked up to tell him off again, but he quickly admitted that he knew the story sounded strange, but I could prove it for myself. All I had to do was go to my wife's office without her knowledge and see what she got up to when she claimed she was working. I was a little hesitant at first because I didn't want to be one of those husbands who hover so much and can't even trust his wife. But there was a nagging feeling at the back of my mind that I couldn't shake, and the guy insisting on his version of the truth pushed me to agree. I told the guy I would pass by. I didn't expect anything to come out of the trip because I still couldn't wrap my mind around my wife having an affair. I didn't tell my wife anything and tried to pay attention to any changes in her demeanor or behavior, but there were no telltale signs. She was as busy as always with work and didn't even spend a lot of time on her phone when we were together. She was very forthcoming when I asked about her whereabouts and her colleagues. Nothing was amiss, and I kept thinking that the stranger had just called to rile me up for nothing. After conducting my home spying and coming up empty, I finally passed by her workplace one evening. I found a guy waiting for me when I walked in. I suspect he was the same guy who called because he was strangely overly invested in this manner. He sneaked me in so that no one would tip my wife off. He led me upstairs and straight to the broom closet. We opened it and found my wife naked with a guy I assumed was the fax guy. I felt really betrayed at that moment. My emotions were a mix of anger, confusion, and sadness. Here was someone I had hoped to grow old with, but she clearly didn't share the same sentiments. She saw me and freaked out. Even the guy looked like a deer caught in the headlights. My wife quickly gathered herself, reached for her clothes, and claimed that she could explain the whole thing. She became hysterical and begged me to listen to her. She was a mess. The fax guy was just cowering in the corner, probably hoping he would just disappear. I, on the other hand, was utterly disgusted and left her there. She kept screaming after me, but I was over it. Also, the guy who had led me there was filming the entire scene as it unfolded. He had been filming since I had entered the main building. He showed me the video, but I wasn't into it. I didn't want video evidence of how much my life is a joke. Update. I had some time to think about my situation and finally decided on divorce. If the stranger was to be believed, and he had been right about the fax guy, my wife had no intentions of being loyal. So I contacted the lawyer and had papers drawn up without telling her. I can't wait for her shock when she sees those papers. My wife hasn't been home since I caught her red-handed. She at least had the common sense to stay away. I don't know where she was, and I found that I didn't care that much. That hasn't stopped her from texting me, though. She keeps writing about how much she missed me and still believes that we could work things out. Plus, I heard that she and the fax guy were suspended by the company. The stranger contacted HR and explained the entire situation. The company management reviewed their CCTV cameras and found that they had been sneaking around for a while. They were fined for dishonorable conduct within official premises. I don't know what's happened in her life since then, and I won't try to follow up. I'm just glad that I found out the truth when I did, or I would still be the fool defending a cheating wife. I'm sorry your marriage ended the way it did, OP. Your ex-wife betrayed you and the vows she made to you when you two got married. It's a good thing you divorced her. If her colleague knew that much about her affairs, it's either because he's one of her APs, or your ex-wife was just really as shameless as he claimed. If she knew it was hard for her to stay faithful, then she shouldn't have married you. You don't deserve the pain or shame, OP. I hope with time you'll heal and forget all about it. Story 2. Background. My girlfriend, 23, and I, 24, are currently long distance, dating for 2.5 years. We both just graduated college and I got a job in a different city. She tried to find a job here but was unable to. That was about 4 months ago. She found a job in our college town and is planning on moving down here after a year because of her lease. Since then, the biggest pressure point between us has been jealousy. Once her new job started, she befriended a group of guys that she hung out with at their houses and drank frequently. She had multiple Snapchat streaks with all of them and was in a group chat with just them, despite the fact that she said that other girls were part of their friend group. She had no Snapchat streaks with any girls. I tell her that I'm uncomfortable with that. She blows up at me and says that I'm overreacting. The next day, she sees that I sent a snap on Snapchat to a girl about Pokemon Go. The only snap I had sent to any other girl for weeks, and she got pissed. Then she asked me to never initiate a conversation with an attractive girl over text. I say that's ridiculous given what she's been doing. We both agree to tone down how much we talk to the opposite sex. Then I go to her place to spend the weekend. My girlfriend's roommate, and I are having a conversation. We're talking about Elon Musk, current events, and some business stuff. My girlfriend was an anthropology major, her roommate was an accounting major, I was econ. She doesn't read the news or know much about politics, so it's basically a conversation between the roommate and me. During it, she tells me that she would love to follow the news but doesn't have enough time. She then says that I should text her important news events every day. The rest of the time that I'm there, she constantly sends out quips about how I should be with roommate's name because we have so much in common. She tells me how she hates it when I talk to her roommate. Then we went to a beer festival. Here we run into another of her roommates. She invites us to meet her family at their campsite for a few beers. Note, I'm a big fan of camping. I look at my girlfriend and say that I would love that. She agrees. Then, when we're in the car, just me and girlfriend, she says that she doesn't want me hanging around this roommate either because she's so pretty. I tell her that I'm only interested in her and like camping. I don't care about her roommate, and I'm sorry she feels that way. End background. The reason I tell you this background info is to establish that we've both established that we are sensitive about these things and we've made that clear. Additionally, I feel that she tends to push the boundary of what is acceptable further and get mad at me when I do something much less severe. Yesterday, I texted her around 9 and got no answer. Today while I'm at work, she tells me she needs to tell me a cute story that happened last night. So I call her when I get off. She tells me that she went to the bar for a beer the night before. She got there, and there were a bunch of guys who kept buying her beers. She accepted them and talked to the guys. They bought her so many beers, she blacked out. The cute part. Her friend says that she will blacked out and she starts crying and saying she had a boyfriend. I feel like, given our previous issues, this was clearly off limits. I believe that she started crying because she felt guilty about what she was doing. She insists that it was cute. If I had done something similar, she would have been pissed. But she doesn't see an issue when she does it. This isn't the first time she's pushed the boundaries of what we have established we feel comfortable with. And so, I think I need to break up with her. This has happened too often, and I feel betrayed every time. Like she's completely inconsiderate of my feelings, but has complete double standards. I love her, and I was thinking about marrying her. which makes all of this harder. This is really tearing me up. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Update. She's been apologizing today. I tried to call her just now and she ignored it and said that she was in the middle of a show and could call me when it was over. I feel really stuck because I'm seriously in love with her. But deep down, I think we need to break up. I got in touch with her friends in order to get their side of the story, and they were defending her actions. But 2 of the 3 girls she hangs out with have cheated on their boyfriends, so I don't know how I feel about them. Your girlfriend sounds immature, OP, with her telling you to date her friend just because you two have a few things in common. I also have a problem with her wanting you to set boundaries with girls but her not doing the same. You think about her complaints and you make changes, but it seems whenever you complain to her about something, she shuts you down because she doesn't see anything wrong with it. Think carefully with your brain and not your heart. You like her, but if being with her is giving you more headaches than smiles, then you know it's time you end things. Now for some comments. I would maybe take what her friends say with a grain of salt, since they are her friends and will of course defend her. It's okay to hesitate. Breakups are never easy. If you're stuck, weigh out the pros and cons. It usually helps. Accepting drinks from guys in bars when you have a boyfriend is shit behavior. I would dump a girlfriend for that, for sure, regardless of anything else. Unless, of course, they are business associates, classmates, old friends, and they reciprocate the buying of rounds back and forth. She honestly sounds extremely immature. Her cute story is extremely off-putting, and it sounds like she does these things and tells you because she's an attention seeker and wants to make you feel jealous. Which, to me, are all serious red flags. I feel like she keeps pushing the boundaries because she thinks she can get away with it. Go with your gut and break up with her. You're better off without her.